Hello student, the question says a cord attached about an end to a vibrating fork divides it into six loops when its tension is 36 Newton. The tension at which it will vibrate in four loops is. So here a cord is attached about an end to a vibrating fork. What happens when you attach a cord and a vibrating fork? Now first we have to know what is this cord. Cord is basically if we have a rope that is fixed at both the ends, we call it as a cord. Even in circle also you may know. So any line that is connecting two points, we call it as a cord. So we have a cord attached about an end with a vibrating fork. So to solve this problem, we know that V is equals to F lambda. See what happens when we connect two bodies is very important. When you connect two bodies, like here you have connected a rope with a fork. So suppose this is a rope that is fixed at both the ends and you connect it to a tuning fork, like end of a tuning fork or something like that. So it is how they manage to connect it is very hard to draw. So imagine we have connected it in this way. So when you connect a rope with a tuning fork, what happens is that the frequency of this tuning fork becomes the frequency of this cord. With whatever frequency this tuning fork is moving, we will assume that with the same frequency, this cord is also moving. So remember this. So it implies that frequency of fork is equals to frequency of rope. So once this is clear, let us try to solve this problem. That means in this given problem, frequency is constant. So if frequency is constant, we can say V is proportional to lambda. That is, V is proportional to wavelength of the body. Now, how do we find this wavelength? He has given, once you start it vibrating, it is dividing it into six loops. Six loops means this is basically, this is the string. When it is vibrating, it is becoming into six parts in this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more. So I'll slightly increase it, and 6. So each loop is simply equals to half lambda. So I can write n into lambda by 2. So each loop is n into lambda by 2. And if we have for 6 loops, we can write if L equals to length of string, we can write n into lambda by 2 equals to L. That is, L is the length of the string. Let us assume there are n loops here. So n into lambda by 2 equals to L. So we can write n equals to or lambda equals to 2L by n. So let us try to substitute in that previous formula only. We get V equals to F into 2L by n, where n refers to number of loops, L refers to length of the string. And V, we know in a string, the velocity is equals to root T by mu. T is the tension. So F into 2L by n. Once we got this formula, let us identify what are the constants in this given formula. Let me just check the question. Based on the question, the constants are this frequency, because in both the cases, we are using the same tuning fork. So frequency is constant. And the next one that is constant is length of the rope is constant. We did not change the rope. We did not bring a new rope for the problem. 2 anyway is constant. Mass per unit length, this is also a constant. So since all these are constant, we can say root T is proportional to 1 by n. So we can write root T1 by T2 is equals to n2 by n1. Root T1 by T2, so root 36 by T2 equals to, in the second case, it will vibrate with 4 loops. So n2 is given as 4 and n1, in the first case, it is vibrating with 6 loops. So it is 6. Square it on both sides, 36 by T2 equals to 4 by 6. It implies T2 equal to 36 into 6 by You can cancel it. 9 4 36. Wow. Okay. So here, when you square it, this would become 4 by 6 into 4 by 6. We'll have one more 4 by 6. So into, we can write 4 by 6. So we will get 6 by 4. 2 table again 3 times, 2 table 2 times, again 2 table 3 times. So we'll get T2 equals to 9 nines are 81 newtons. I hope you understood how I have solved the problem. The most important thing is what happens when you connect two things. When you connect two things, we'll assume the frequency of one body is equals to frequency of the other body. Once you understand that, that's the first thing for you to understand. The second thing is that what is the meaning of number of loops and what they have to do with the wavelength of that is going through this. Once these two are clear, that means if number of loops are changing, the wavelength that is getting created is changing. But frequency is not changing. If frequency is not changing and wavelength is changing, it implies that velocity is also changing. Hope you understood how I have solved. Thank you.